Welcome back. This is the part 2 of the movie ticket thing, MDriven. Gonna just recap where we were. We could select the ticket and the system would try to reserve those tickets for you, and if it wasn't possible it would state so, and if it was possible it would state that. But what we wanted to do now is to replace this buy ticket view with something more appropriate. And we have this information, theater and everything, and what we want to do is to add a view override. So we can simply add a new text file in the external override pages folder, and we call this the same name as our view model, by ticket CSHTML, and in the external override pages, and this will be empty. By tickets, not ticket. I can just write anything here just to prove a point. If I head back to the application after saving this, and it just says what now? Yeah. To get back to the original content, I could of course just delete this override file. Then the system would revert to default, but I could also copy the content from the Angular page dynamic template. I'll tell you, just paste it in like that, and then we would have our own stuff. What now? I'll tell you, and the system generated stuff. But what we also have is a development page, and here we could look at each view model and see in part all the Angular widgets that you could use. And having these, we can pick and choose what we want in our page and how we want it, and override pretty any way we want. So I'm gonna paste in the widget for the image, and then it looks like that. I'm gonna grab something more. The data in grid for show ticket. I'm gonna paste in that for show seat list. Yeah. Refresh. And then it would look like this. Okay. Great. What we want to do is to find another way to display the picked seats. So let's Google a bit to see if there's any seat reservation JavaScript. Okay, maybe we found something. Simple demo. This looks promising. You could pick seats. Let's download that. Check what it contains. Of course, we need to check the license as well, but it seems fair. And it consists of a CSS and a JavaScript. Okay, let's grab those and save them in our content folder. I'm gonna find that. It's up here in our web application content. So here we have the script and the CSS. Let's just try and use this. I'm gonna paste in pretty much the sample in our application. So this was from the sample. And I've added that at the end of the, like this. Okay. And that sort of looks good. And this is how it's injected. The seat map div is found in the document ready, and then it's created a lot of stuff. Now it's important to remember that this script doesn't know anything of our data, and that's usually the case with scripts like this. They just are not data aware enough for us. If you look at this JavaScript, there's lots of stuff trying to keep UI widgets in place, but we're not really that interested in that kind of programming. That's the old style when you don't have control of your data. Let's look at what the CSS of this component does with seats, how it displays them. Looking at this, we can see there's divs for each seat, and they have styles to display seats, and each row is also a CSS class to display. We can use those, but we don't really need any of the complex UI logic part of the control. It's much better to trust our data. If we were to add a little data to our view model, defining the rows like self show seat, and select every first seat in row equals 1, that would mean that we would have all the rows. And that would be important information for us. From the seat to the show, there we have the link object show seat. Yeah. And if we follow that to the columns, column for each row, and for each column we have the specific seats, and we have the, let's add some state thing to this. I got from the CSS what the CSS wanted for different states, if it's selected, unavailable, or available. So I have pretty much based my data rendering on what the CSS in this component expects. Having done that, in a different view, a copy of the old one, we have something that could look like this, but we need to actually use our new data transformation. So we're gonna do our own thing with the seats right there, right here. And we're using Angular, of course. Just gonna have a div to display the things in, and a div to Angular repeat over our root row in root dot rows. So each row in rows will be called row, and then I just copy the things that I saw in when I inspected the element of the other component. And for each row I want to iterate over the columns with ng repeat column in row dot cols. And the same thing here, I just sort of steal the markup from the component I downloaded. No reason to invent the wheel again. Of course I could if I wanted. It's just that I don't want. And also here we can inject some of our own things, like the JS state that comes from our data. And the identity. So we mimic how the component expects the HTML, but we don't really care about the component because the CSS will render as if it was the component that did it. It's the plan anyway. So let's finish this up. We want to display something in the seat. There's a few more things. The rowless checkbox, I copy this as well. And then we need to display something in each seat, and that's the data from our side, the label. So having done that, I refresh the page and voila, check it out. And if I click the seats, they are dead. Let's fix that. On each seat we need a on-click toggle seat. Toggle because if it's not selected, we're gonna select it, and if it's selected, we're gonna unselect it. We're gonna do a small script here in the page, catching up that toggle seat. And in the toggle seat, we first need to get a hold of the Angular scope. And we get that from the element. Once we have the scope, we have full access to our data under the root tag. And JS clicked seat, assign the element.id. JS clicked seat, what is that then? That was a piece of data I added in the view model. It sets a variable, vClickedSeat, and then I have a JS toggle action that uses the value of the variable. So we're gonna call our action as well, JS toggle seat. So this is what gonna happen every time we push any buttons, refresh, push any seats, that is. Click, now it's blue. And look at the data down there. If we unselect, the rows are removed from the little list. Beautiful. Just the way it should be. And I'm gonna add a backdrop to the page just to make it more nice looking. Something like that. Now I can click here and yeah, done. And then it's just gone. It should really say something. You got ticket, start over. Okay. And of course we can spend hours just fine-tuning our view. The picture is too big, I think. Change that to 90. Like that. Okay, that's better. Now I see at least, but I want something to happen when I press start. Need some kind of busy animation. Let's Google a bit. Progress, no, that's a busy animation is probably what I'm looking for. something like that, yeah. And okay, here you have to produce your own, or have to, you can, that's cool. I want one that looks like that. Background color, I don't know. Generate. Download. Copy. And we need that one in our content folder. I'm going to use that file name someplace right about there. Add a div with my new image with source, one folder up, /content /file name, right? But this shouldn't show all the time. It should show, and then we use Angular view, no, Angular show. We are in scope. So we just use root, and then we say show busy animation. And we need to define that in our data, of course. Add column name show busy animation. And when is it that we should show the busy animation? Well, let's see. It's when our current seat request has state equals to let's see, the state should equal, I don't remember, seat progress something. Let's check the state diagram. Request process, okay, no problem. Switching back and replacing the question marks. Okay, now we have done that, and we need to upload the model to the cloud. Done. Head back and start over. Done. Oh, where is it? Where's my busy animation? It should be there, shouldn't it? Oh, I forgot to refresh the page. Was that it? Yay. So, and that's just about how easy it is to do pretty much anything you want with your data. And of course, it's the web is full of CSS and JavaScripts you can use together with MDriven Turnkey, and you have full access to your data from any web page you need. This is a very good thing if you want to do systems that are gonna live for a long time, because you can afford to be a little bit sloppy in the UI. The data is still very strict and ordered. Hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much.